and not think, well, that person made me do something. That doesn't exist. We're in charge of our own responses, our own reactions.
I really wish there was a 10-hour course that you had to take with your
You were forced
marriage
to take.
partner
Yeah.
in order to get the license.
I love that. But I, even with a strong testimony of Jesus and his atonement, I needed these other resources to almost open up my eyes to where I truly needed to dig deep.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Barbie Does Dating on yet a different set and a different character than you're used to seeing. Please welcome Bubba Page, who's with us today.
I'm glad to be here. This is going to be a blast.
Bubba and I have just met in real life for the first time, maybe like 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's about right.
And we don't know that much about each other. We were introduced by a mutual friend. So we're going to get the skinny and
go.
And dive in on all things dating. So, okay, well, by way of introduction, since we don't really know each other, let me just tell you a little bit about my story.
Please.
And I cannot wait to hear about yours and hear how you ended up in this chair today.
Yeah, you got
it. So like I was telling you briefly before, I've been a dating coach for about 20 years, dating coach matchmaker.
That's
I
wild.
met my husband online in the year 2004.
Whoa.
So early adopter, OG online dater.
Oh my gosh.
Right here. So it was before, like you couldn't tell people that you were dating online.
It was not acceptable.
It was not. It was very taboo and something that I felt like only desperate people did. So my last single friend ended up meeting a guy that she met on Yahoo Singles.
Wow.
Do you remember that word?
I have only heard of it.
So she created this profile for me against my will. At the time, she was an aspiring photographer, which meant in 2004 that she had this brand new invention called a digital camera.
Oh my gosh.
And it came with a cable that connected the camera to the computer and you could put your picture on the screen. This was like the first time any of us had seen that.
Yeah.
So not only did she create this profile for me against my will, but she also added photos. So I was like, people from my ward are going to see me on here, and it is going to be the most humiliating thing ever. So I ended up meeting my husband about 3 weeks later. I found that so I was a newspaper reporter at the time, and my skills as a writer like really played well. I was clever and witty
profile
and
love
concise, and I put together this amazing profile, and lo and behold, I met somebody great in about 3 weeks, and we've now been married 21 years.
Oh, my gosh.
We've got 2 kids, and after I met him, my freshman year roommate reached out and said, you met somebody great online, and I've been wanting to try that, and could you help me? And so I had these skills as like a newspaper person, you know, to kind of put together a story or a piece.
You're a copywriter. You know how to do it.
So I put together this thing about her. I took her out. We took some photos that were very intentional. I'm trying to like market her as like,
highlight her good side.
Yes. And she met somebody. They got married.
No.
She referred a friend of hers to me. I wrote a profile for her. She also got married. I started bragging about, I'm like 3 for 3 over here. And so my brother recommended me to his like former coworker. So I did the same process for him. He met somebody and got married, and I was just feeling pretty like hot stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like so good at this.
You could see a business coming.
I could. Well, and I like, you know, I know you're an entrepreneur. I don't know much about you. I know you're an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I am like an anti-entrepreneur. I am, but I don't want to be. And so I honestly did not have that in mind. I was just like so delighted to be helping people like make connections that were so meaningful and impactful in their life.
Well, your product was needed and wanted.
I know.
And it was working.
And I was a unique person in the world with the written. I mean, this was before there was writing tools and Grammarly and all that. Like people just couldn't write well, but I could. So this was probably 5 years into my little side hustle.
Yeah.
As a dating coach, as an online dating coach. One of my clients met a gal and they got married. She worked for a matchmaker. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Is that a real thing outside of the Hallmark Channel? Outside of like Manhattan, USA? Like, how can that be here? So long story short, I ended up working there for about 2 years, like just a lot of hours. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know were there. I discovered this whole industry, and I decided after 2 years that I needed to pursue some like actual credentials. Like I had been coaching their clients through this online process and had, good results, but I knew there were things that coaches knew that I didn't know. And so I found a graduate program at the University of Texas. They taught it totally distance. So I was able to, log onto my terminal at 4:30. So I did this graduate program, got the coaching credential.
Wow.
And I also got connected with a group called the Global Love Institute, which I'm sure you didn't know was there, but
no, I did not.
There.
That
So
sounds fabulous.
this is where matchmakers and dating coaches from really all over the globe meet. It's in Manhattan.
What?
And we do a conference every year. Collaboration is our middle name.
Oh my God.
It's a very collaborative community, and I've been fortunate enough to present at the conference and to collaborate with some of there's a lot of really Jewish matchmaking women out there that know how to make serious matches and serious money at the same time. So anyway, this has been I work from
what
home.
a journey.
I have a home office. I have about probably 5 clients a day, and I do that every day for the last
Oh my gosh.
many 15 or so years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's an industry I do not know anything about.
Oh, I'm here to answer any fascinating questions that you might have, and I've a wealth of stories and experiences. So,
well, and you've been along
with
all the trends of like the different types of online dating.
Oh,
now
yes. The invention of Tinder changed everything forever.
Mm-hmm.
But now Tinder is,
they're not relevant anymore.
Yeah, they're not. It was hard. Like some of these changes were really hard because I like the things that I know how to do, and I don't like when they change out from under me. Yeah. But you have to change with them. That's the one thing I definitely know for sure.
Oh my gosh. Well,
So
I have none of that.
Good.
Look,
good, because that makes my.
I was raised in San Francisco, the Bay Area.
Oh, what part?
Walnut Creek, Concord.
Oh, nice.
So loved being in Northern California. It was great. I came out to BYU to go to college.
Great.
Loved my experience. It was so much fun. And then served a Mormon mission.
Where'd you live at BYU?
Oh, I was in Deseret Towers first.
DT, okay.
And then I went to Helaman Halls.
And what years were you there?
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I graduated high school 2001, so I was there 2001 to 2.
Got it. Okay.
And then I served.
You were like one of the last people in DT.
Yeah.
When they tore it down.
Before they tore it down. I don't know, 2003 or 4 or something like that.
All right.
I got to go to Brazil for 2 years, volunteer as a
nice.
missionary.
Okay, what mission?
Porto Alegre, the furthest south you can go.
Nice.
And loved my experience there. It was wonderful. And then when I came home back to Utah and went to BYU again, I got involved in my very first startup. And I didn't even know what a startup was. I didn't know the word entrepreneur.
Did you know you were an entrepreneur?
No clue.
You stumbled into this?
No clue, because no one in my family, they were doctors, dentists, lawyers.
Okay.
Nobody was an entrepreneur. Huh. And so I got invited to join this company. It wasn't mine to begin with. But I got to travel around the country, and I was, single and traveling all over the place and trying to build this business. I ended up selling my ownership to my partners and had a little mini win. And so with that, I ended up getting into a townhome and ended up meeting my wife. Mm-hmm. We got married. 8 children later. Yeah, I've got 4 boys, 4 girls.
A whole crew.
5-year-old twins, boy, girl, all the way up to 15-year-old boy.
Okay.
It is so much fun. It's a beautiful chaos.
I love it.
And everybody's got a best friend. And whenever we go, we
I'm
can
jealous.
Always have somebody to hang out with.
I have 2 kids, and that's all she wrote.
No, that's all right.
And I just,
no big deal.
I grew up as one of 6, so I feel bad for my kids that they don't have more. But sometimes you can't.
You know what? Yeah, sometimes.
But everybody's got a best friend. That's
everybody's got a best
tribe.
friend.
That's a team.
It is fun. It is really fun. And again, you have to be okay with some noise.
Sure.
And a little bit of chaos. Mm-hmm. And I'm the kind of guy that I don't have to have everything picked up and perfect all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, a couple times a day. Let's pick things up. Let's put things in order.
Yeah.
But I'm okay to be a little more relaxed just because of understanding the chaos that comes with that.
How's the like housefly situation? Do you have housefly? Like I grew up with 5 older brothers, and I feel like like we just had flies in our house in the summer.
Oh, no way.
And that was just like
I've
a
got
standard
fly
of
hunters.
living. Yeah, well, now I like a fly got in my house like yesterday, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? There's a fly." And I just like reflected, like, are there fewer flies?
Funny.
And I think there's fewer people in my house to leave the door open. That's
Maybe.
what I think.
Maybe that's it. I've got kids who love to hunt down flies. So we don't see too many too often.
Good.
But we do have 2 dogs, 2 Bernese Mountain Dogs.
Oh, big
and
boys.
They're huge.
What do they eat?
What do they eat?
How much do they eat?
Oh, 55-pound bags, like every 2. I mean, it's wild.
You have 2.
And their deposits are not very fun because they're
bet
human
not.
size. So you
I'll
got to,
bet
that was probably TMI.
Construction
But
worker
I've got
size.
2 of them. It's wild.
Wow.
And
Names?
then Rome and Rio are the dogs' names. They even have their own Instagram. Oh, yeah.
I
Rome
will
and Rio,
follow.
you can go follow.
I'm like a major dog person. You know who else is? So Steve, who is a typical co-host here.
Yeah.
He's a stand-up comedian. He's out at sea.
Oh
he
my
does cruise ship comedy.
That's
a
amazing.
lot.
I
these
need to
days.
meet Steve.
He's great. He's obsessed with dogs, and dogs are obsessed with him.
Oh, I love
like
it.
everywhere he goes, like dogs will like start to follow him. And Barbie loves dogs too. She does Rover. She doesn't have her own dog, but she will
my
like take in
gosh.
dogs. So I'm
Okay, well, I
sorry.
need to know that. I'm going to call Barbie up,
Yeah.
take my 2 dogs
Yes.
when I go on
She
vacation.
would probably love it. Come house
That's
sit.
hilarious. All right.
Okay, continue on.
All right. So then, 8 kids, building businesses. I was lucky enough to sell a business in 2020. Built another technology business from 14 to 17. I had to shut it down. So that was a learning experience. And then my wife at the time, we were able to grow a business together, more around social media, and we helped our audience with budgeting, productivity, and cooking. And then last year, we finalized our divorce. And so I'm only on this podcast because I'm no longer married.
Right.
Look, it was an experience that I would not wish upon anybody. Divorce is not
I'm
something
sure not.
anyone expects when they get married. And I've now had, it's been about a 2-year process fully.
Yeah.
I spent the first year just completely focused on my kids, my own health, in mental health and like well-being and healing. And then I didn't start dating until it was completely finalized with the judge signature in September of last year. So
Very ethical decision.
well, not everybody thinks the same way. And I've met a lot of folks who begin dating a lot sooner than that. And I just
Many
didn't feel
different paths.
comfortable
Yeah.
with that for me.
Yeah.
When I needed that dedicated time to just focus on myself, my kids, and not worry about the dating world. And I'm so grateful I did that. It just allowed me more alone time because we were doing, kids on and off. And so when I didn't have the children, I was able to really focus. And I needed that.
What do you think were your like biggest takeaways from that time?
Oh, the healing? Oh, yeah. I mean, takeaways on healing, and I would recommend this for all of us listening here.
Write this down.
First of all, I would say I wish I would have known about attachment styles.
Ooh.
And
We talk about that a lot.
oh, I
on
bet you
this.
do.
Yes.
It's popular in the singles world, but as a married person, it's never talked about.
Yeah.
So
but it's critically important.
it's so huge. I would just wish I knew more. So the book Attached, highly recommend it. If you are married and listening to this, which may be, I don't know. There's another one called Secure Love by Julie Menino. And I think it covers a lot of the attachment theory, but is more relevant for a couple.
So I'll see you're attached and you're secure love and
raise me.
I'll raise you. Oh.
I wanted ChatGPT to answer that.
No, we don't need chat. We have our own resources here. We're both
right.
well. Okay, so does the name Sue Johnson sound familiar?
No.
She's got a book. So Sue Johnson is like a pioneer in attachment theory.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She is from the UK. She's got big bouffant hair. She actually passed away last year. She
Oh my
was like
gosh.
85. So her book is called Hold Me Tight.
Ooh, I love
It's
that.
a must read.
Okay.
I think you would get a lot of value out. I mean, anybody would. You'd get a lot of value
it down.
out of that. And it's a must read when you find your person,
I love it.
your forever person. You must read it together.
Okay.
And cool thing, there's a workbook that goes with it.
I love it.
So there are Hold Me Tight. So this is kind of like an AA sort of situation where there's
Okay.
groups that meet like all over the world.
Fantastic.
There are Hold Me Tight couples groups
Wow.
that do retreats and workshops. And I mean, it's like, the Middle East, Europe,
everywhere,
United States, everywhere.
It's that common.
It's that common. And it's
that.
like, she's the groundbreaker. Like, she's the glass ceiling breaker. Her work that she's done regarding couples attachment is life-changing.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
I've told you this. You're going to read it. And
then
you're going to text me in a couple of weeks and be like, how did I just find this?
I love it.
Okay. All right. Continue on.
So for me,
the healing, attachment.
So what happened was when I started looking inward and thinking about my own healing, because look, you can't change anyone else other than yourself.
Right.
That's like one of the core principles that not all of us understand. And I didn't understand that. And as going through therapy and trying to do my own healing, I couldn't change the outcome of what was happening. But what I could do is change me and my own response to it, my own reactions, my own, triggered responses. And so understanding deeper what my childhood wounds may be. And look, I love my parents. They're probably going to watch this at some point. And there was nothing inherently wrong with my upbringing. I didn't have any big T trauma.
Right.
But even just, I think I look at my own kids. I have 8, and I can't give all of them all of my attention all the time.
Right.
And so inherently, one of them might feel not loved in a moment.
Right.
And that may cause a wound.
Right.
And it's impossible for me to have love for all 8 all the time, constantly, because if I'm
even
paying
with
attention,
2, I have
you can't
the
do
same
it.
issue. Yeah.
You're paying attention to one, the other person needs. And so just for those parents who, when children talk about childhood wounds, I love my parents. There's nothing, I don't blame them for anything.
No.
At all.
This is our map of the world,
Yes.
right? You're not going to get through
But some people
this
look
life
at it.
without skinned knees.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Some people get offended.
There's crimes that happen in
Of
families,
course,
but
of course. And that wasn't me.
but
I didn't
there's
have that
skinned
experience.
knees also, and that's what most of us experience.
But I needed to know, like, why did I respond to certain triggers, and not think, well, that person made me do something. That doesn't exist. We're in charge of our own responses, our own reactions. And so, why was I getting defensive? Why would I take things personally? Well, instead of me looking inward before, I would just get defensive and like, well, what about this and what about that? And so for me to understand more deeply about myself, it gave me more compassion for others, because then I could start to see others in their responses, their reactions, and I could see a little bit deeper of where it might be coming from. And so this healing process allowed me to understand, when I dug deep enough into my own wounding and tried to root out some of those wounds and heal them from practice and layers upon layers of healing. And it's a lifelong process. I don't think anyone's ever fully healed. It's an ongoing. But I do believe one of the key principles in marriage or dating is that we all need to be working on ourselves so that we can become as secure as possible. And that when a trigger comes, which it will, inevitably, that's part of the relationship process, that we can look at that trigger as, what does that mean for me that I need to heal? What do I need to work on to not have a certain reaction to?
Why does it impact me this way?
Yes. Instead of, that person shouldn't have done that or said this or whatever. No, why did I feel that way? What made me think that certain, concept?
Yeah.
And that to me was one of the greatest parts of healing.
Well, and it's so hard to get that much time, and you're lucky that you were able to have that time to heal and a quiet moments to sit back and reflect on your worldview and your map of the world. And I think so often the way that we respond to other people has to do with the assumptions that we make about their motivations that comes back to our worldview or our map of the world. Like, if this happens, it means that, because in the family of origin where I came from, that's exactly accurate. But, from this other person who grew up in some other family, the way that they respond is totally different and does not mean that. And, so much of our relationships are about communication, which is, words and body language. Like, we do our best to decode what our partner is trying to communicate to us, but we make a lot of errors.
All the time. I made all kinds of errors all the time. And it was sad because the way that we were raised obviously affects our adult relationships, especially our adult romantic relationship.
Yes.
And I didn't know that. I didn't even know that there was something called childhood wounds. I didn't know that there was an attachment style. I had none of this understanding. And I honestly pled with God to understand, why didn't I know about this before?
Yeah.
Why didn't 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, why didn't 5 years ago I know about some of these things so that I could have done some of that work and healing before?
Or together. Like we're
Even better
about it together.
I look at a relationship as we're on a mountain and we're climbing together, and we're supporting each other through these mountains. There's ups and downs. There's places you have to jump across and you have to climb hands and knees, and you're going to fall and trip and slide down parts of it. But when you're doing it together, you're working on all these pieces. What I feel like a lot of marriages, whether it's that 7-year mark or the 15-year mark, it's these itches that people call it.
Yeah.
I look at those as it really just is, you made it to a point on the mountain. You're a third of the way up, or you're get halfway up, and you can't clearly see the top. And when you can't see the top of the mountain, you don't know how much further you have to go. And so you think you're done. Like you think, I can't do this anymore. I cannot face this whatever reaction that this person is giving me, and they are not looking inward. They're looking at the other person and they're pointing fingers, and they don't realize that if they can work together to overcome some of these challenges that everyone has, every marriage has them, but they look online and they see social media, it's perfect, and they think that their friends are perfect. No one's perfect, and they're all dealing with hell of some sort.
Yeah. So true.
That if they could just make it to the top of that mountain, and so maybe making it past that 7-year or that 15-year or that 20-year mark or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that's when everything stops, but you get to the point of the mountain, in my view, where you can see. And when you're at the top of the mountain, look at what you can see out in front of you. And you have a clear understanding, because you've had to go through depths of hell multiple times with that partner. And if you are able to be truly vulnerable, and which breeds connection, then you may be able to face these challenges together. And then downhill, it's not perfect, and you're still going to have to jump over a crevasse, or you're going to have to trip over some rock, but you'll have a much better vision of what the future looks like. And when people tell me, they're in their 30th year or their 40th year or their 50th year of marriage, a lot of them, well, maybe not a lot, I don't know the percentage, but it seems like their happiness together grows, that their love deepens, that they've been able to go through the depths of hell together so deeply that bond that they have is unbelievable. And what makes me sad is for those couples who, and we all know them, who they're still unhappy, and it's been 30, 40, 50 years, because they didn't do the work, and they're avoiding the pain of doing the work. But here's the thing, choose your hard. What is harder, to get divorced and to be in the single scene and to have to restart everything? Now, outside of abuse and things like that, having to go through that pain and suffering that's going to inevitably break your heart and hurt people around you. Choose your hard. Do you work on your marriage or your relationship? Do you solve some of the problems, the attachment styles? Do you become more secure? Do you get triggered less and less because you learn about what those triggers mean to you? To me, it's like exercise. Choose your hard. I love going to the gym. I go to CrossFit. It's my favorite. I love mountain biking, volleyball, trail running. All those things are my favorite things. I love to do them outdoors. If I didn't, and it's hard, and I'm hurting, and I'm sore right now. I'm sore.
Yeah. Sure.
Or I can not exercise, and I can have, who knows, diabetes is in my future.
Yeah, that's very hard.
Heart problems.
Yeah.
Am I going to deal with, pains and aches that I've got to be on multiple medications?
Yeah.
Choose your hard. We all have choices. I think it's the same way with the spiritual side. You can either go to God and seek his guidance and his direction, or you can walk in a misty place and find yourself at the depths of despair, maybe feeling lost. And look, even whether you're going through life and you're making all the right choices, God's still going to allow hard things to happen no matter what. That's part of the plan.
Yeah.
But to me, it feels like when you're going to choose your hard, think really, really long and hard about that choice. And we're talking about dating now. If you're dating someone and there's red flags, look, I'm sure we all have some kind of red flag somewhere. But if there are red flags and they're inconsistent or they're not, like, know that person may not be your person. And it's okay to have to start over. I know that's painful for people to say that.
Yeah, but
it's easier said than done,
that
right?
It's that choosing your heart.
Choose your heart. Are you going to dive in?
It's hard to spend 6 months with somebody and think, gosh, this is probably not right, but I don't want to be alone. So I'm going to try and make this
I don't want to go back into the dating scene.
I don't want to go, yeah.
I don't want to have to rehash my story with somebody else.
Right.
But if you know or have this inkling that this person isn't for you, think about how much harder it will be if you get married to that person.
Yeah.
And I know I'm new to this, so I'm not going to speak like I'm some expert from a dating side.
Yeah.
But I have loved, and the one thing I can say I'm grateful for going through a separation and a divorce, the one thing is that it forced me to look inward and to begin and join this healing process for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and it's sad for me to admit this, I don't know if I would have gotten to the level of healing that I needed without it. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I would hope that I would have gotten there eventually. And sometimes it takes something as deep and as hard as this to go through.
Right.
I would hope those that are listening to this can find a way to not have to go through something that's hard.
So you brought up a really good point, and you talked about tools, right? Like, I wish I had known that these tools were there.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm actually doing driver's ed right now with one of my neighbors' kids.
Okay.
Because I only have two, and they're both drivers, and
I love
got a widow situation.
You're helping.
And
Good for you.
They need the help.
I love it.
So I'm going through this process of learning to drive, and you've got to go and take this course, and that lasts X amount of hours. And I'm comparing it to getting a marriage license. Do you know what it takes to get a marriage license?
Probably nothing.
Nothing. You just go in there and you pay your $8 and they give you a marriage license, and they'll also marry you right there for another $8. They'll marry you. Right? So you don't have to go through any learning process, but as a relationship development pro, which is what I am.
Oh, absolutely.
I can tell you that there are tools that exist, and it's really important to understand the process of relationship development, and to learn what tools exist and how to use them. I wish, if there was
a course.
If I wish that to get a license.
Have you put a course together? Come on.
Actually,
let's get people certified.
I know.
Go buy her course. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to trust that it's awesome.
That's a whole story in and of itself. But anyway, I really wish there was a 10-hour course that you had to take with your marriage partner in order to get the license.
I love that. Learn about their upbringing.
So much sense.
Learn about their childhood experiences.
And attachment theory.
Oh.
And communication styles. And there's so many things.
I love that.
Don't you wish they taught some
100%. This is one of the most important decisions of your entire life. And there's nothing that we're forced to do.
Nothing.
And usually, look, I was 23. She was 21. We had no clue what we were doing. But look, in this world, a lot of people get married at that age. And you try to figure it out as you go along. I think that, and a lot of people can, and you can figure it out, and you can learn to love as each other evolves, because you inevitably evolve. And which is a good thing. We should be evolving. We should be, becoming more of our true authentic selves. I know for me, I also wish, so attachment styles are huge, childhood wounding. I love if people are seeing therapists, like find someone who understands internal family systems, IFS, and those types of things, so you can heal this inner child within you. I thought it was all woo-woo. Honestly, I thought it was all crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then I experienced it myself.
We're emotional creatures.
Unbelievably helpful.
We are emotional creatures.
100%.
It's just not all,
yeah.
What you see is what you get. There's so much complicated inside. So I want to, as you were bringing up the story, you talked about how you cried and said, God, why did you not tell me sooner that there were these tools? It made me think of that and helped me think of this, because I can't remember the details. it's a story, it's a metaphor about this guy sitting on a rooftop and there's a flood and people are coming by with a boat saying, "Oh, get into the boat, I'll save you." And he's like, "Oh no, God's going to save me."
Mm-hmm.
And then another one comes and he sends it away too and says, "God's going to save me." Right? And then he ends up drowning. And then he faces God and he said, "Why didn't you save me?" And he said, "I sent 3 boats." Right? That's how I feel like, people who are lonely and who are divorced now or who are never married think, I have been abandoned here and I am waiting to be saved. I mean, I don't mean to
I hear you.
make that
sound
sound like everybody's desperate, and they're not. But there are tools that exist. Like it has never been easier to find people who know what they're doing, or at least have some opinions or some tools.
Or to learn yourself.
Yeah.
You learn yourself. Like there's
invest in that education.
Good friends of mine, Henry and Tara Namar. I don't know if you've met them yet. They own a company and a domain called masculineandfeminine.com. So shout out to them. And again, this is another thing I had no idea about, that there is a divine masculine and a divine feminine. To me, when somebody brought that up, I was like, woo woo, I don't even get that. But when I started to understand that it wasn't about muscles, mustaches, tattoos, cigars, guns to be a masculine man, that it was to me, it's more of following a Christ-like example of, you can have an incredible amount of power, but power from like a godly sense. That's self-control, it's self-discipline, it's patience, it's being a solid structure where you can receive someone's emotion and give space for that person's emotion and stay calm and collected instead of reacting and responding. I didn't know about this kind of stuff. And I also didn't realize that, we each have masculine and feminine within us. And again, I'm no expert in this stuff, but as I've been learning, I found that when, if a woman is stuck in her masculine more often than her feminine, most likely she'll become unhappy and not understand why. And look, there's nothing wrong with a boss babe, like go do career, build businesses. I've always been supportive of that. And I mentor women entrepreneurs. I'm advising all that.
Yeah.
But I think our true inherent selves, and this isn't politically correct, but I do believe there's a godly sense of a role and responsibility that men and women play that are different.
They are different.
They are different and unique. And again, we each have a part of it inside of us. But I think we find our truest joy when we're acting within that divine, for me, masculine, and divine feminine for you. And again, seeing people who are struggling with their own joy and happiness and them not knowing why, you may look and say, okay, are you out of childhood wounding, out of the struggles of, your upbringing? Are you a people pleaser? And where did that come from? Why do you say yes all the time? Why can't you say no? Do you stand up for yourself? Do you set boundaries? And if not, why? And if they would say, well, I don't know why, then ask again why, and go 5 levels deep. Why? I think that when you start to really look inward, I know for me, I was a peacemaker in my home as a child. I was the youngest of 4 children. They're probably going to hear this, but my mom and her sister kind of butt heads sometimes, right? Similar, and I was the one.
Nobody else.
Yeah, nobody else
has that in their family dynamics.
And I didn't realize this until I was going through therapy and healing retreats, and that I would try to help my sister feel good about herself and peacemake her, and then I'd do the same with my mom. And I realized that I would receive love from both of them, from helping them feel good about themselves or whatever, and kind of like calm everything down, because I didn't want the contention in the home, and it wasn't comfortable. And so I would do my best of understanding their emotion and help them regulate, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't have those terms then.
Co-regulate with them.
But I didn't learn how to do it with my own.
With your own.
With my own emotions.
With your own emotions.
I just would shove mine down.
You could co-regulate, but not regulate.
Absolutely.
Got it.
I didn't have the tools. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Although I was just appeasing and people pleasing those two.
Right.
And becoming this peacemaker, I felt all this love. So when I go into a relationship, I didn't realize, but I was trying to earn love from doing these types of things.
Yeah.
that I did as a child. I didn't realize this, but it was a subconscious thing.
We do it a lot with not just love, but with our value in general by being really, really productive.
Oh yeah.
People are trying to earn their value. It's a very common thought construction that we have to sort of debunk and realize that our value and our ability to love and be loved really is unattached to what we produce. There's
somebody online, I cannot remember for the life of me. She does these amazing, I don't know, skits, but reels that show where if you have childhood trauma that you haven't dealt with yet. And one of them was, you're sitting at home, you're reading a book, and somebody comes to the door, a spouse or whatever, and you hurry and try to look like you're busy. Right?
Yes.
You were relaxing, you were reading a book, everything was calm and peaceful, but the second you heard somebody coming,
get busy.
And you just went into this flight mode.
Yeah, frenzy.
Right? And it was interesting because she said, and she gave multiple examples, but this was one of them that you're still probably dealing with some childhood trauma. Again, and I know trauma is such a harsh word, some childhood learnings that maybe aren't as healthy.
Little T's.
That, and I know that's totally something that I would find myself I got to be busy. And having time to relax just didn't exist. Now with 8 kids, you don't have a ton of time to relax.
Right.
You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I've found now, as I've been going through my own healing journey, that I have created that time to relax. Playing the guitar. I love playing the acoustic guitar, and especially with my kids who can sing along, who can play the piano along. But I found that if I would ever play the guitar before this healing process, it was almost like I was doing something wrong.
At the expense of what I should be doing.
Yeah, because I should be. There's a laundry list of things that need to get done forever long. So, I went 15 years, 17 years without really picking up the guitar. And it was one of those things that brings me joy.
Yeah, it's like Stephen Covey sharpening the saw, right? We have to have these things that help us stay sharp and help us to stay engaged as long as it takes to get through the responsibilities. But I felt guilty doing it.
I felt guilty doing this thing that I enjoyed. And it wasn't that I was spending hours and hours on it. It wasn't that I was wasting time. I just wanted to play 30 minutes a week. Could I just do 30 minutes, even just a week? And I've found that now that I've reintroduced that in my current life, and I can make these choices on my own now, I've found so much joy in incorporating this peaceful, relaxing hobby. And I just, anyway, to know that there are things that I could work on was the most important thing for me. And I just didn't know before.
2 things. You brought up the divine feminine and the masculine and the difference between the two. I wonder if you've heard about the work of Alison Armstrong.
Probably not.
I think you might enjoy her.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
So Alison Armstrong, she has lots of work, a really great...
Is there a book?
Yeah, there's
a
book.
What is it called? Do you remember?
I can't come up with the book title. I'll have to put it in the show notes.
Okay, I'll find it.
But it's been very impactful for a lot of my female clients, particularly who are miserable and they don't know why. Just like you were saying, they don't know why, because we're not allowing ourselves to tap into what's wonderful about the feminine. And yes, we're boss babes too, but that doesn't mean that it comes at the expense of the
you can
divine
do both.
Feminine that's really there. And then I'll come back to that story about the sending the boats. Right? Sometimes we think, especially I think as members of the church, which we both are, sometimes we think, well, these tools must come within. But there are a lot of really valuable tools that are not connected at all to the church.
Oh, yeah.
And can save your marriage.
100%.
Right? Or can propel you forward in your personal development to find your ultimate future, like an ideal one. And we've got to be looking for those tools and not just thinking, well, it's going to come to me, through the mouthpiece of the Lord from General Conference.
Yeah, I think it's huge actually, because I've been out with people and have created relationships with some of these women who are stalwart women and focus on their relationship with Jesus, and it's inspiring. And yet when with some, I've talked about this healing journey that I've been on. And for me, look, Jesus is the ultimate healer.
Of course.
He is the master healer. His atonement and sacrifice is how it all works out from a healing standpoint. But even with a strong testimony of Jesus and his atonement, I needed these other resources to almost open up my eyes to where I truly needed to dig deep. And it was outside of the gospel perspective,
right.
Not from a contrary perspective.
Not contrary.
It was absolutely synergistic.
Yes.
But there have been a few that says, I know that I can heal through Jesus, and so I don't need to go to therapy. I don't want to learn about attachment. I don't almost avoiding the principles of psychology and these relationship experts because they're solely focused on Jesus. And it's hard for me because to me, yes, Jesus is everything. Like he is the ultimate healer.
Right. He's sending you about.
He's sending me about. And there are other resources. There's good in other books, right? We need to read and learn from books and resources.
Yes. Well, it's like, our higher education, we go to college. We don't just go to institute.
That's right.
Right? We really have to trust some of these external things to help us develop in a wholehearted, well-rounded way.
But why don't we do that in our relationships? It feels like we're not willing to look outside of what the gospel brings when we're talking about our own internal healing and with our relationships for the most part. Yeah. And I know I needed the help from the outside. And it all came back to me, with the temple and worshiping and with Jesus and scriptures.
To hear that.
All of it came back and it strengthened me. It didn't pull me away at all. And so I know there are others who have found ways out and they've made other choices to, not put Jesus in the forefront. And that's their own path.
Do you know what?
And that's understandable.
That's what the agency is really about is going down some pathways and having some personal experiences and making those decisions. That actually is Jesus Christ's plan.
I get that. You got to go down some path sometimes. You just wish that you were not that you didn't have to be compelled to be humbled. If you could just be humbled and not be compelled. Yeah. I know I've had to be compelled multiple times, and so it's one of those. I wanted to touch. There was a couple things like with this masculine, feminine. I'm gonna get hate for this. I know it. Some of these women who are just powerhouse women. Yes. And they're like, well, of course I'm in my masculine. I was forced to do it because I'm divorced. I have to be the provider for my family. I have to be the protector. I have to preside in the home because they don't have a spouse to do that with. And the thing is, most men are going to be attracted to a more feminine woman. Now, here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. There are men that are absolutely attracted to masculine women. You just may need to be careful because they may be looking for a mother type figure. Yeah. And if they're looking for a mother type figure, that's never going to work. Too. Yeah. Those are wounds, right? And you don't want to be intimate with a mother-child relationship. That just doesn't work. And so in a marital relationship, that's not going to work either. But most men, coming from my perspective, I want to be able to look. She can have a business, she can go to work and do the things in her power and in this masculine, vibe. There's also ways I think you can incorporate your femininity in that. But I hope that when you come home, you have a safe enough place to where you can almost fall into this feminine role. And I don't know exactly how. You're going to be able to speak on that probably better, but it's something where as the man is working on his ability to step into that more masculine role and lead in certain areas of the home and step into this piece. I'm working on something called Fatherhood Movement. It's not launched yet, but fatherhoodmovement.com. I just feel passionate about helping not just fathers. This goes along with women as well, but if we can learn about healing, if we can learn about stepping into these divine roles, I think a lot of people can become happier. We can find more healing and more relationships can thrive. I'm incorporating even relationship building with your children. So there's father-daughter retreats and father-son retreats, even just fatherhood retreats. But that's all under this fatherhood movement branding that I've been working on for a while, and it's taking longer than I would hope, but I'm trying.
Any good things come, do you know?
I know, but talk to me about like as this. You've been working with men and women in your dating experience, so when they're saying, "I want to have someone who's more feminine," how do I not do that in an offensive way? Where some women are going to say, "Bubba, you're horrible. How dare you say that you want a more feminine woman?"
Well, here's what I'll say. First of all, there's a lid for every pot.
Okay.
Not every woman wants Bubba, and Bubba doesn't want every woman.
Of course.
Right? And so let's put that out there.
Okay.
And I really kind of latched on to what you said about, these women who are exercising their masculine, because they have to.
Of course.
They feel like they must, and they probably must. Doing what you must is one thing, but when it comes at the expense of allowing yourself to think about what is wanted, that's when it's a problem.
Interesting.
Right? So if you will allow yourself to think about, here's what I want. Like, this is where I'm at now, what I really want. If I could take a step back and think, if I had a magic wand and I could make this happen, this is what I would want. And then once you have a target, it's so much easier to hit it. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to find a target that doesn't actually exist yet. So that's a big part of what I do with clients, is really help them develop their own target. So like
non-negotiables. Put together, what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah, and I mean, that's a very masculine way to put it. And I probably wouldn't put it that way, but it's for you. It's for you and your audience. But anyway, I would say what is wanted, and then we have to make room for it to exist. I once... So I had this neighbor that lived around the corner from me, and this was a second marriage. She was a lot older, she was a lot older than I was. I was in my early 30s at that point, and she was probably mid-50s. And it was a second marriage, and she was always, always, always complaining about her husband and all that he left for her to do, and he would never step up and take action or be proactive, and she just had nothing but complaints. And anyway, dear friend of mine, loved her to death. And they decided that they were going to sell everything they own and buy a big, huge fifth wheel and travel the country. Wow. And I thought, wow, that sounds like a horrible idea, because you guys don't even get along in your house. So anyway, me and my girlfriend that lived around the corner too, we went through her house with her and tried to help her get things in order. And we were able to see their dynamic in real time. And anytime he tried to do anything helpful, she slapped his hand and you're not doing it right. I mean, even something as simple as vacuuming. He wasn't vacuuming in the right pattern. She didn't make any space for him to show up for her to do anything.
So then he probably shut down.
So he shut down. Yeah. Right? So he quit.
Common. Very common.
Very common. Yes, this is like a tale as old as time. So I'm coming back down to this idea of deciding what is wanted. Then you also have to leave room for somebody to show it to you. And we get in these habits of running the program and doing what we know it takes and not trusting other people. And if you continue to do that, there will never be, it's a vulnerable risk to take to let somebody share the load with you. But when it happens, it feels really good. So my clients who have been successful, this is a big part of why is they allow this enough curiosity and enough patience to let this thing unfold however it will, without trying to rush it or do for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm really grateful you brought that up. I think so many, look, we're all walking with wounds and we're trying to heal. And especially if you've been through a divorce and you're trying to figure out your next relationship, you don't want that to happen again.
And that's what people want, is to not have something happen again. But that's not a good target.
That's not the target.
Right? The thing that we focus on is what we're most attracted to. So if you say, I want a really feminine woman, you will start noticing how many there are around you. And if the same thing is true for women, if you say, I want a proactive masculine male who can relieve me of some of this task and this heavy weight, you will start noticing that they may exist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's every man.
No, for sure.
But they do exist.
But is there a reason when, let's say, this woman that you talked about had a little bit more of a controlling environment,
Yeah.
that was caused because of her upbringing, caused maybe because of wounding that she hadn't healed yet?
Certainly.
And so when we have some of these, I men too, so we're both in this scenario. If we're able to look at why we do certain things or why we respond or react in certain ways, it can only benefit you in a relationship. And for me, when I said the 5, I didn't even say the 5. I just said the non-negotiables. Very masculine way of put it. I had my therapist say, before you start dating, write down your non-negotiables. He said, because look, you're going to get in the dating world, and it's going to be very easy to lower your standards. And I'm so grateful he said that. So I wrote down some of the key pieces for me, and it wasn't like, so it has to be this tall or this color hair or this whatever. It wasn't very specific. It was more broad. Like,
you're not ordering from a menu.
No, not at all. Not at all. And look, there's a longer list of preferences, but again, I know, look, no one's perfect. I'm not looking for that in any way, shape, or form. But if I can become as much of my list as possible, I believe energetically I'm going to attract more of that list in somebody that I meet. And so for me, it was things like living a healthy lifestyle. I love living a healthy lifestyle. It would be incongruent for me to be with somebody who wasn't doing that. And so that's just like one of my non-negotiables. But that's super broad. It doesn't mean they have to be a CrossFitter, because I like CrossFit. They have to, no, not at all, It was just something very broad. And I want them to love God and have a relationship with Jesus that I wasn't pulling them into, that they had their own desire to do that. And it's the same thing with health. They had to do that themselves. They'd have to do that with God. These are just some of those pieces that are in, I'm not going to give all my secrets away of all my non-negotiables, but it's something that those are wide open enough that a lot of people can fit in that realm.
Yeah.
And then obviously there are going to be, you have to be attracted to each other. And, but it's not just the attraction, because the personality attraction, attraction is going to go away over time.
It's a holistic attraction.
It is a holistic attraction. And so, I'm learning all this stuff about myself now. And I know that I could have seen very easily how my standards would have, or could have gotten lowered, especially from when it comes from me, a morality standpoint. Like, I am a no sex before marriage kind of guy. That's just the way I've looked at it. I've made promises and covenants. I don't want to go against that.
Yeah.
I intend to keep those. And I was more judgmental before I was divorced and this type of scenarios happen. I didn't understand how people could break that. I now understand how it can happen.
It's pretty easy.
And it's very, very easily possible. And so I have way more compassion and empathy in this world.
Isn't that so interesting?
I think God needed me to learn that.
I wanted to tell you, do you want to know what science has to say about non-negotiables?
Let's hear it.
So one of my mentors, actually, she's become a friend, which I feel pat myself on the back because I know how to pick friends. So her name's Dr. Terry Orbach. She's a university professor in Michigan. She's a marriage family therapist. I know her from the Global Love Institute. Most interesting thing about her, so she's about 65. I think she's around 65. She, as part of her postdoctoral work in the late 80s, started following close to 400 couples who all got married in the year 1986. So this study was called The Early Years of Marriage. It got funded by the National Institute of Health.
Wow.
And she followed these couples for the first 4 years of their marriage to bring out some insights about, what that was like and what can we learn from that. And the research and insights were so robust that it got refunded again for another 4 and then another 4, and it's still ongoing. So these couples who got married in 1986 are now in their mid-60s, and there's a treasure trove of research-based insights about long-term relationships. One of the interesting things that I have pulled from this learning and often share with my clients is that there are 6 values, 6 universal key life values that all the responders had in common.
All right, I want to write them down.
And the couples who stayed together, which by the way, that number is 52%, stayed together as married partners. 48% divorced. Most of that repartnered with so most of the people who are being followed are married now. There's like a very small percent that's not. I can't remember the figure. But the couples that stayed together, the thing that they had in common was, of that list of 6, if they valued in priority level, like we all prioritize those values in our own unique ways, the couples who picked the same top 2 as each other, they were the 52%.
Oh my gosh.
Couples who still valued them, but in a different priority, didn't stay together.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that fascinating?
That is so fascinating.
So you want to know what the 6 are? We've
Heck
talked about
yes.
it on this podcast before.
I have not heard
It's been a while.
it. Let's
so
go.
I will tell it to you. Okay, in no particular order. Let me give them to you off the top of my head.
Okay.
So, habits with money, finance, and spending.
Okay.
We have importance of family and children. We have habits surrounding health and fitness. We have opinions about politics and social issues. We have work ethic and career ambition. How many is that?
6.
That's 6? Did I get them all?
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Wow.
So if you look at that list,
Oh, no,
you
I missed 4.
Oh,
I missed 4. There's one more. So we got habits of money and finance spending, importance of family and children, habits around health and fitness, and then politics, work ethic, ambition. There might be one more. I didn't type in 4.
show me your list. I can't see it.
Because I love this and I'm fascinated by it, because as I've written down my non-negotiables and I put them in kind of I haven't necessarily listed
Faith,
them
religion, and spirituality.
Oh, that's it.
It's not
You
on your
already said
list there?
Nope.
Okay, faith, religion, and spirituality.
Of course makes sense. Faith, religion, and spirituality, which is a huge component.
So here's what I will typically do with clients. I will share these with them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll prioritize them, and then
match
we'll
people.
define them. No,
okay,
because your definition of somebody who is gospel oriented could be very different than what mine is.
Yeah.
So actually, I had a client I was working with today who is engaged, and his fiance wants the things that he wants. But as it turns out, her
Totally
definition of what this means is really different than what his worldview of what that thing means.
Interesting.
And it's causing some problems. So we have
I
to
can see that.
define what these things mean to us.
Fascinating.
And find somebody who fits, like who we can spoon with, in that way.
I like spooning. That's great.
Who doesn't? It's the best. Big spoon or little spoon?
Oh, big, of course. Come on. You know what? I love that. I mean, having those non-negotiables and understanding what they truly are to you. I think the whole dating with intention is so critical of stepping into what do you want and how do you want that, and then being transparent about that with the people you meet.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be on your first date by all means, but like I know for me, for quite some time, I have been dating in a more casual way and not been in an exclusive relationship. And that's been very intentional. As again, 1 year after, post-divorce, I have felt like this has been a new and a rediscovery of myself in these new circumstances, meeting new people, learning about that process. I didn't feel comfortable getting into an exclusive relationship up to this point.
Right.
And because it was more of a discovery, but I was transparent with people that I would go out with and tell them up front, this is my objective. And I hope you're okay with that. If not, that's fine. And there have been people who said, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something. And I was grateful to hear that and to have that clarity. There was also people who were clear about, look, you're great and you seem like a wonderful guy, but I can't do 8 kids. And so let me just be upfront with that. And I was like, hey, thank you. Let me introduce you to other guys who don't have 8 kids.
Sure.
And we became immediately friends.
I have lots of thoughts about that.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't think we have enough time to get to it.
Oh, we can keep
But what
rolling.
I would say is dating with intention is so critically important.
Yeah.
And what does that mean in application? That's what really matters. Because it's a catchy phrase. But what it really means in application is that dating is not just for entertainment, although it should be entertaining, right? It's not the whole goal is entertainment. Dating is discovery. Dating is doing detective work to figure
Curiosity.
out, like you're saying, is this a candidate for girlfriend?
Yep.
Or is this a candidate for put her in my network because I might have a buddy once upon a time that I might be able to fix him up with? Or is this person crazy and I never want to see him again? Like the whole spectrum exists.
Yeah.
And so much of our future happiness depends on like placing the right people in your life to do the right jobs. So when we're dating, what we are trying to discover is, does this person belong in my life? And if so, how? Right? And I don't like this idea of saying, hey, and I can tell you this with so much authority because I've seen it happen so many times with my clients. Tell me 99 things you don't want, and the person that you're going to marry is going to have every single one of them.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the love of your life, and you're going to be so glad you did it.
Yeah.
So we can't start with problems first. We can't start talking about deal breakers on dates 1 through 3 or even 4. What we have to do is date with some intention and get to know each other, what we're like, what our upbringing has been, and really like seeking for understanding and overlap, looking for ways that we might have shared experience or shared overlap that are going to make us more engaged or more curious to want to know more.
Okay.
Like for the right person, you might take his 8 kids, right? If the total package was just right, like you might not think that you could do that, but actually those kids are
thank you.
A delight.
And
they're going to add so much dimension to your life. But you don't know what you're walking away from if you say right in the beginning, oh, there's a wall here.
Totally. Okay, so with that, which I appreciate, thank you for saying that. They are wonderful children.
I'm sure they are.
They're absolutely great.
I looked at your Instagram and they look darling. I would want to hang out with them. Oh,
they are cute kids.
Which reminds me.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
Hold on, I'm going to ask you a question while you got this. So knowing that we shouldn't close out every opportunity without discovery more.
Yes.
My thought is, as a single dad, building businesses, taking care of the kids, trying to be healthy, having hobbies. I don't feel like I have enough time in the day to give just anyone an opportunity. And so here's the thing. I haven't been using the dating apps, and I've been being introduced to a lot of people.
Probably don't need to,
I haven't at this point.
Network.
I haven't at this point, but I've heard Mutual's great. They have a new one called ARC that's really cool. So that's for Christian singles, and I shout out to them because I've heard that those are good. What I would just maybe suggest to women who want to be in this, if they are single and they want to actually be asked out by a guy, would you please have a clear photograph of yourself? That's easy for us to see.
Both. Let's get a banner.
It's just like basic. So look, and what I've noticed too is
sunglasses.
No, please no. You can have a 3rd or a 4th or a 10th photo with sunglasses. That's
Photographs
fine.
with you and 9 other women that look just like you.
Please no. Look, you can have that as part. If you have 30 photos, that's
can be
okay.
one of
But
them.
if you have 2, and you're not showing me your face, and you're not showing me what you're about, like that's gonna hurt. And please, women and men need to do the same. But like clear photographs, please, if you've been divorced, you may want to archive your ex and the photos there. I don't necessarily want to see you with your ex-spouse.
Well, it allows for people to draw a lot of conclusions that may not have anything to do with where you are, what your life is like now.
So if you're on Facebook, look, I didn't use Facebook almost ever. I have now started to use it more frequently, and there's more engagement on this regard there, which is unique and it's different. But what I've noticed...
How much more time do you have?
We got time. Let's do this.
Time?
I got time.
I want to do like a part. Can we do a part 2?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so let's wrap up this and we'll come, if you want to hear more
let's do it.
About the interview with Bubba, because it seems like we're going to get into the nitty gritty of tips that we can all apply. Then come join us for part 2.
Part 2, let's go.